Hey y'all, this is Marla K. Hope everybody is doing well. Got a story that I want to share with you from CNBC, and it is about the two judges that have been arrested for obstruction of uh, justice. I guess that's the or obstruction of the law. Really for aiding and abetting illegal entrance. And I wanted to talk about it because, and excuse me, y'all, I'm cold, so I have my house coat on. I have on clothes, but I like to wear my house coat. So this is Monica K's house coat edition. When you old, you can do what you want. I'm auntie status, so leave me alone. Go talk to your mama about it. All right, back to the story. Okay, so the judge in particular, the female judge, Judge Hannah Dugan, they arrested her. She's in Milwaukee, and they arrested her for obstruction charges. And it says she's accused of helping an undocumented immigrant, which is an illegal entrant, which is a federal crime, evade arrest. When have you ever heard of black people getting such mercy and grace? Now, a judge can be like, okay, I'm going to go lenient on you. I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to give you the minimum. Or sometimes they might go outside of the sentencing guidelines and do something else. They can do that. But when have you heard of a judge be like, okay, the evade arrest, go out this side door over here. Let me help you. Come on now. And the way that the media is telling this story, like they are just doing something so horrible to this lady, to this judge, when in actuality, both of them actually was breaking the law. So we have to be very careful about these stories. So it's very important that you read all of the story, because when you read the story, you be like, huh, so they did violate the law. It's no different than the judge, the white judge, I think he was in Pennsylvania for years, had did the pay to play scheme with the youth, was sentencing youth to for-profit juvenile detention facilities for all kinds of crimes, even when they didn't do anything. And then come to find out that, this judge had made a whole bunch of money. And the judge actually got sentenced. The case was, I don't know if it was overturned, but something happened with the judge. But anyway, the judge ended up getting some sort of punishment and going to prison for some time because of it. So you don't just get to commit crimes and then just because you're a judge, you get to get away with it. It don't work like that. So the key points that this article makes is that the judge was arrested on obstruction charges. Dugan is accused of helping an undocumented immigrant evade arrest. And this is what the FBI director says. And then her arrest came one day after federal authorities arrested a former New Mexico judge and his wife on charges related to their reported harboring of undocumented immigrants with ties to this gang that they keep talking about. So anyway, it's illegal for you to do that. We're not supposed to harbor. It's like harboring a fugitive. Even though a lot of the crimes with the illegal entrance have been made misdemeanors, it's still a crime. And so when you're a judge, you're supposed to be crime free. You can't be committing crimes and then judging crimes. So that basically makes all your other cases null and void. You can be examined and questioned. Your integrity and your interpretation of the law can be questioned. You could have all your cases thrown out. Like it's huge, but they're not talking about it from that perspective. When I say they, I'm talking about the media. They're trying to cast these people which y'all know they are not us, Edomites, in a light that makes it seem as though this administration is doing something wrong or bad, which in this case really is not. But because liberal judges have been getting away with so much stuff, or I don't even know if these are liberal judges, these people have been getting away with stuff for so long, they don't think nothing's supposed to happen to them. And it's just like the Bible says, they're going to say right is wrong and wrong is right. They're not going to even follow their own laws, and they're going to find themselves blameless. This is one of those cases where I would say these judges and the people who support them are trying to find themselves blameless. You can't say you support the law and then support people who break the law. The people who's supposed to uphold the law breaking the law. That's just like us saying, oh yeah, police should have immunity for everything, and then they're busting us upside our heads, busting in our house, killing our children. Folks going missing in your neighborhoods where they're policing, and then it's like, oh yeah, well, it's okay. Until it happens to them, they don't really see the need for oversight. So it's the same sort of thing. So just be careful with this particular story. But anyway, it says federal authorities have arrested a Wisconsin judge and a former New Mexico judge in 2 separate cases, accusing them of interfering with Trump administration Trump administration immigration enforcement activities. Milwaukee Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan was arrested Friday morning and charged with obstruction. She is accused of helping an undocumented immigrant evade arrest by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers after he appeared in her court April 18. Dugan's arrest came one day after federal authorities arrested a former New Mexico judge, Joel Cano, and his wife on charges related to the Canos' reported harboring of an undocumented immigrant with alleged ties to the notorious gang Tren de Aragua. The actions against judges mark a sharp escalation in the Trump administration's aggressive efforts to remove undocumented immigrants from the U.S. Nobody should be surprised by the arrest of the 2 judges, Tom Homan, President Donald Trump's border czar, said in a statement Friday. If you actively impede our enforcement efforts, or if you knowingly harbor or conceal illegal aliens from ICE, you will be prosecuted, Holman wrote on X, which is their right. Now, I think Congress is supposed to do something about illegal entrance, but because Democrats have a philosophy and then Republicans have a philosophy or ideology, nothing ever gets done. And so, the whole immigrant thing is to, take away from the fact that Congress is not doing what they're supposed to do. Also, both parties benefit from illegal entrance, whether it's through labor, whether it's through taxes, whether it's through, whatever means. It's helping with repopulation of white people, because they tend to gravitate towards white supremacy and being with white people when they're not with their own people. They have their own agenda when it comes to that. And so taxpayers are but they also, recognize that it's a huge burden on taxpayers, because once they come here, they do break laws, they do things that are illegal that we can't do. And so people are tired of it. So this administration used that as their platform to get elected. And so now you're seeing people actually be glad about something being done. But you're also seeing where there's a lot of people helping to hide or conceal these illegal entrants, and they're getting preferences that we would never get. And I want us to take note of that. That's why I'm talking about this particular story. You look at the lengths that these judges are going through to protect, to break the law, to protect certain people. And you have to ask yourself, like, why? What is it about these particular people? And why is it that we don't get the same grace and mercy? We know why we don't get the same grace and mercy, but I still wanted to mention that, just to pay attention, to take note how the media will turn the story around when the story is true. The judges did what they did, and you can't be committing crimes and you supposed to be upholding the law. It's a crime, even if they consider it to be an illegal entrant. I think it's like a misdemeanor. I did a video on it, and I'll try to put it in. I hope I remember to put it in the description on the difference between an illegal entrant and what they need to be called. But they get away with a lot of stuff. They like let out, then they can do all kinds of stuff. They can get cars and have wrecks, and they don't have to do stuff. They don't have to do half the stuff that we have to do. And as long as they don't kill somebody or commit a felony, they could just be around here walking around, working under the table, getting public assistance, like all kinds of stuff for a long time. And so the system is broken, and I'm not pro or against anything. I'm just stating what the facts are. And so if you are a federal judge, you are appointed that because you're going to uphold the law. You were selected because apparently you had to be an attorney and you have to know something about the law. You can't break the law and then serve as a judge and judge others how they keep the law. That don't make no sense. So we're not having that conversation. The conversation is about these judges who were helping these illegals and protecting them were arrested. But nobody's talking about, the white people not talking about the judges actually broke the law. If this is what they did. And I think they have proof of the female judge, the Judge Hannah Dugan. I think they have proof of her doing it. So if they have proof, she's probably been doing it for a while. Because why else would they be like, oh yeah, we're going to start sitting in on these proceedings and see what happens? How would they know? Somebody had to know. But, it goes to, go back to the Democratic Party. They have been doing this stuff for a long time and getting away with it. And so now they're not getting away with the stuff that they've been getting away with. And they're trying to play the victim. For us as black people, as Negroes, we got to stay out of this. You cannot support this because at the end of the day, they coming for us. And nobody going to stand with us. Nobody has been standing with us. And it's going to be the same way. So we must understand that this is not our fight. And we must understand that this is just another example of how other groups come here and get privileges and support and covering that we don't get. They get protections even when they don't have rights. White supremacy still protects them because they have some use for them. When it comes to us, we are hated, and they're never going to protect us the way that they protect these other groups. So pay attention to this. So it says Dugan's arrest drew swift condemnation from Trump's critics. Americans are watching with outrage the stunning news that Trump's FBI has arrested a sitting judge in Milwaukee for alleged obstruction of an immigration arrest. Representative Jamie Raskin of Maryland said in a statement. For me, I don't give a shit. I'm just gonna tell you the truth. They are wonky when it comes to how they how the scales of justice weigh anyway, especially when it comes to us. They don't come out and be like, oh, we need to do something about the way that the system harms the Negro children, the Negro people. No, nobody don't do that. They do it to us every single day. Nobody says nothing. So I care nothing about these judges getting arrested. They should be arrested. They would arrest me if I go into the store and steal something. They're gonna arrest me. If I go out here and kill somebody, they're gonna arrest me. If somebody robs a bank and I invite them in my house and we sit down at the table eating steak dinner, and somebody tells that the criminal isn't here, they're gonna get me for obstruction of justice and harboring a fugitive. The judges did the same thing. So why are we surprised? They try to act like the judges have blanket immunity. So you have to like use your thinking skills. They're trying to frame this particular argument as it's something that Trump did wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. His administration isn't doing anything wrong. Like, this is one of the areas where I have to concede. The judges broke the law. So, I mean, what are we talking about here? So, it says this is a drastic escalation and dangerous new front in Trump's authoritarian campaign of trying to bully, intimidate, and impeach judges who will not follow his dictates. Okay, well, if he has the power to do this, because Congress won't address the illegal immigration or illegal entrant issue, and he has the authority to do something, just like Obama had the authority to create DACA, and Biden had the authority to give them, all these different privileges and money, whatever. But when it comes to Trump, it's a problem. So it just goes to show you that, everybody play the same game, and this is why we can't get caught up in it. No matter who wins, we still lose. And at the end of the day, this is just another example of how these people, this system, will do anything for these other nations or these other groups of people, but they don't do it for Negroes, African Americans, FBAs, descendants of chattel slavery. They don't do that for us. So it says we must do whatever we can to defend the independent judiciary in America. Well, if the judiciary is criming, they need to be committed. They need to be treated like criminals. So this is the Judge Kano, Joel Kano. I don't know what his wife looked like. They ain't got her mug shot. So it says Kano, a former Doña Ana County Magistrate Judge, and his wife Nancy Kano both face charges of tampering with evidence, jail records show. Kano, who had served on the bench since 2011, submitted his resignation letter March the 3rd, days after Homeland Security raided his home, court documents obtained by NBC News shows. Federal agents had received a tip. So somebody told, they didn't even get caught because somebody seen them. Somebody told that Christian Ortega, an undocumented immigrant from Venezuela, whom authorities suspected of being a Tren de Agua member, and others were staying on the Canos' property. Ortega is charged in a separate federal case in New Mexico with possessing a firearm as an illegal alien, which is a felony, because if you're not a citizen and you don't have the right to carry a firearm, you didn't apply for it, you ain't supposed to. So that can get you deported. But the fact that this judge was harboring these people at his house and willing to commit a crime and catch these charges speaks volumes about how the system actually works. That it's crazy. Anyway, a sworn affidavit in Canos' criminal case said Homeland Security agents conducted another raid in the former judge's home Thursday in search of a cell phone they believed was Ortega's. According to the affidavit, in an interview with agents, Kano said that he destroyed the cell phone that belonged to Ortega by smashing it with a hammer and discarded the remaining pieces in the city trash dumpster approximately 5 weeks ago. Kano has denied any knowledge that the three people were affiliated with the gang. Quote, the very first time I ever heard that the boys could possibly have, should say possibly have any association with the Tren de Aragua was when I was informed of that by the agents on the day of the raid, Kano wrote in a March letter to the state Supreme Court responding to allegations against him, which could possibly be true. They could possibly not be in a gang. None of that is neither here nor there. The issue is that these young individuals are illegal entrants and that a judge was harboring them, protecting them from the law, giving them a place to stay, harboring illegals. Now, if he was just an average person like me, it wouldn't really make no difference. But the fact that he is a judge and doing it, like, is what? What's really going on here? You couldn't find nobody else to harbor these people if you cared that much? So it says a U.S. Marshal Service spokesperson confirmed to CNBC that Dugan was arrested about 8:30 a.m. local time on courthouse property. Dugan was released on bond after making her initial appearance Friday morning in U.S. District Court in Milwaukee before Magistrate Judge Stephen Dries, according to her case docket. Dugan's arraignment and plea proceeding is set for May 15th, the docket shows. Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Carl Ashley told NBC that the Judicial Code of Conduct restricts him from commenting on the matter, but said Dugan's court calendar will be covered by another judge as needed. FBI Director Kash Patel announced on X that the FBI believes Dugan intentionally misdirected federal agents away from Eduardo Flores Ruiz as agents were attempting to arrest him at the courthouse. So people was trying to arrest him, and she said, I am going to put on my super lady cape and I'm going to protect him. I don't even understand what these people be thinking about. Like, why be a judge if you ain't going to uphold the law? And why be the judge if you know, to me, it just don't make no sense. But nothing in this place makes any sense to me now that I'm awakened, and I just don't necessarily buy the story. So this is why we have to actually like pick this story apart. They really were helping criminals. Thankfully, our agents chased down the perp on foot, and he's been in custody since. But the judge's obstruction created increased danger to the public, Patel said in the post. Not only that, it just shows her bias and her inability to make good decisions. So all her cases, to me, should be investigated and everybody should be let go, because she's partial. Like, don't make no sense. Just do what you're supposed to do. You're getting paid to do the job. Do the job. The Milwaukee Journal Centennial reported that the FBI was looking into Dugan's conduct surrounding an attempted arrest by ICE agents in the courthouse on April the 18th. On that day, Dugan became visibly angry after learning that ICE agents were waiting in the hallway to arrest Flores Ruiz after leaving a hearing in his criminal battery case. Come on now. She mad because the feds came, because when you're an illegal entrant, they'll let you stay here and have your little due process, but you can't be doing no other crime. So not only are you an illegal entrant, then you got a criminal battery case. She know that shit was wrong, but she gonna go and stick her neck out anyway and put on her cape and be Superwoman for this man. Why? The affidavit said Dugan then ordered them to go to the chief judge's office, it said. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped a part. So it said after learning that ICE agents were waiting in the hallway to arrest Flores Ruiz after a hearing in his criminal battery case, according to an FBI special agent sworn affidavit unsealed Friday. Dugan and another judge entered the hallway and confronted the arrest team, telling one deportation officer that he needed a judicial warrant to make an arrest instead of an administrative warrant. The affidavit said. Dugan then ordered them to go to the chief judge's office, it said. After returning to her courtroom, Dugan escorted Flores Ruiz and his counsel through a jury door, which led to a non-public area of the building. So she basically helped them escape, citing multiple witnesses. Flores Ruiz and his attorney then returned, and then the attorney the attorney was in on it too. The attorney then returned to the hallway and took an elevator down to leave the building. So they had this stuff together, baby. They was not criming. They was criming. After told that Flores Ruiz was in the front of the courthouse, agents ran toward him and identified themselves as law enforcement officers, it said. Flores Ruiz turned around and sprinted down the street. A foot chase ensued, according to the affidavit. The agents pursued Flores Ruiz for the entire length of the courthouse and ultimately apprehended him near the intersection of W State Street and 10th Street. Flores Ruiz was handcuffed and detained, it said. Dugan's criminal complaint shows she has been charged with concealing an individual to prevent his discovery and arrest, and obstructing or impeding a proceeding before a federal department or agency. See, she ain't had no business getting herself in that mess. She should have just did her little job and went on about her business. What them federal agents was doing wasn't none of her business. She should have let her attorney handle that. He had an attorney, so why she get involved? So it is a conflict of interest, and she was obstructing justice. So the story that they are telling in the media, like, you got to read the story. This broad just was emotional. I don't know why she has this passion to help illegals, but if she does, she need to go get her job with a charity and quit her judge job, because her passions and her job are conflicts. So I want to talk about this story, one, because I just wanted to show how the headlines don't actually tell the truth about the story, but two, to demonstrate how these other groups get privileges and passes and coverage and protections that we do not get. We don't get those. You never hear a story about a white judge going to jail for doing something like this, for helping a black young nigga escape from crime. Never. You don't hear, you just don't hear that. And so I just want y'all to pay attention to how this system works and see who got the complexion for the protection and who does not. And I'm not saying I'm for or against the judge. The judge should be charged, because if it was something else and it was illegal, should be charged. All her cases should be evaluated and tossed for both of the judges. For the illegal entrance, they're here, nobody's doing nothing about them. It ain't my business. But when it comes to the law and how the law is applied, when it comes to them versus us, I want us to take note the great lengths that these liberal judges or these sympathetic judges will go through or go to protect them. They do things for them they wouldn't do for us. They see their humanity. They do not see our humanity. And it also speaks to the system, because if these judges are doing this and it's out in the open, they're doing this everywhere. And we know they do it for their own people. But I'm just shocked at them doing it for these illegals. It's like, I just don't understand. I'm never going to understand. But anyway, it's nothing to understand when you live in America. Just confusion. It's Babylon. Babylonian confusion. So anyway, do not believe the headlines. Make sure you read these stories. Do not follow up with these people because they selectively apply the law, and you can't trust. You just can't trust what they say or what they do. So that's my takeaway. So anyway, please like this video, share and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification so that you will be notified each and every time I upload new content. Follow me on Odyssey, Rumble, on Instagram, and on Facebook. The links are in the description. If you'd like to support the channel, please support my GoFundMe. The link is in the description. Also, I have a Venmo and a Coffee. If you'd like to support me in those ways as well, you can use those. The links are also in the description. Lastly, continue to prep, continue to pray, continue to seek the Most High, continue to keep watch, because a lot of the things that are happening, again, are just the tip of the iceberg. All roads are going to lead back to the Negroes, because when they come to us, it's going to be on and popping. They're going to be far more aggressive, less lenient. You ain't going to see all this judge. You ain't going to see no judges trying to help us get away. They're going to be, yeah, get them on into the jail so we can make money off of them. Get them on out there because we got some stuff we need to have made. We need some stuff built. That's what's coming for us. So again, y'all young men, y'all better pay attention, because they're starting with them and complaining about gangs. They're going to end with y'all, and they're going to be complaining about gangs in Chicago, in Baltimore, in New York, in Oakland, in LA, Compton, and all these other places where they've been in Seattle. They've been complaining about gang activity, violence, crime, so on and so forth, and where black people have been the face of it. It's coming. So, my personal opinion, Chicago is going to be the first place they start. So I could be wrong. I don't know. They've been talking about Chicago all this time for nothing, and they haven't been rolling back these laws in places like LA, criminalizing stuff like theft, and just allowing people to go in stores and steal, and nothing happens to them, and police not responding to stuff. It's for a reason. So y'all better pay attention and wake up. While this story is a little hilarious and over the top and not, it's disingenuous, the takeaway is that this is the way that the administration is going to continue, and they will continue until they reach you and me. So keep watch, stay out these streets, stop this criming, figure out you something to do constructive, figure out something to do legal that's acceptable by them folk. Mind your business. Stay out of this helping these other groups, because you end up contributing to stuff that you shouldn't contribute to, and that's not what we are about. We are all about not necessarily resting, but keeping aware of what's happening and making alternative plans and trying to protect ourselves and our brothers and sisters, because this is going to hit us. It just has not gotten to us yet. They ain't got to us yet. They trying to, this is a test case. They're playing around, trying to see what works, what don't work, what people accept and what they won't accept, what the courts will allow them to do and what they won't allow them to do. And once they get all these things figured out, they're coming for us. So you got to pay attention to what is happening, who are the key players, and then see how this system is going to work, because this system is going to turn on us in a different type of way. Like, it already don't work, but it's going to turn on us in a way that looks very much like pre-Civil War Nazi Germany and Reconstruction era Jim Crow black codes, whatever you want to call it. A lot of different things, but same results. So anyway, this is Marley K. Love y'all. House cold edition, because I'm cold. And I'm out.